Our whole thoughts of what our future would be like were gone that day.
Hearing that my child will die from a disease, it's something that you never want to hear as a parent.
When Emmett was 5 months old, we were very concerned about his lack of movement. He wasn't kicking his legs. He wasn't holding his head up at all. He had lost some movements that he had previously had.
We kept having this kind of nagging feeling like, no, I think there's something more here than just he's lazy or needs to do more tummy time or is a bit delayed. We did take him eventually to a pediatrician, and then we were referred to BC Children's after that.
In August 2015, we had an appointment at BC Children's Hospital in the neuromuscular clinic.
A neurologist came into the room and said, Emmett has SMA.
Spinal muscular atrophy type 1, or SMA, was one of the worst diagnoses that he could give. Josh and I were both experiencing straight up shock. Like, we were pretty terrified. I was thinking about what would happen to our family, how we would be able to get through this.
I remember asking the neurologist, what does this mean? Like, what is life expectancy? He responded with 12 months. Emmett was 5 months old. I just wept.
We didn't know how to react. We were sitting on the floor, like all of us were just sobbing.
It's almost like I was a different person walking into that room, and when I left that room after receiving that diagnosis, myself, as I knew myself, was gone.
They said that he would lose his ability to breathe and to swallow. He was unlikely to live past his first birthday, maybe his second if we were lucky, and that there's no treatments and nothing that we could do for him other than keep him comfortable and try to keep him happy.
Feeding Emmett, changing him, getting him to nap, and putting him to bed, and all those things became much more meaningful experiences because I didn't know how many of those I was going to have left. We wanted more time with Emmett. We wanted more time with our boy. We met with a neurologist who gave us hope. There was potential that Emmett could be a part of this clinical drug trial.
It was a huge, awesome coincidence that the drug trial was happening at BC Children's Hospital, an hour away from our home. When we entered the trial, our hopes were that the drug could prevent the progression of the disease or slow it down. But we weren't sure if Emmett was going to actually get the drug or if he was going to get a placebo.
Emmett began the trial 2 months after his diagnosis, and we just began to see small incremental improvements. Things that were like, oh, Emmett's never been able to do that before.
Before we had started the trial, he could move his hands, but he couldn't lift them up. He had lost his ability to turn his head from side to side. Within a few weeks of his first initial injections, he had gotten some movement back in his arms that he had lost.
One of our most shocking and fondest memories is Emmett sitting up on his own. Having the ability to do that was something, when we received the diagnosis, wasn't even in our minds that he'd be able to do.
He gave me a hug for the first time when he was 2, and all of a sudden he was able to get his arms around me and like squeeze, and it was just really, really exciting. When Emmett was diagnosed with SMA, we didn't expect that we'd have an 8.5-year-old who's so active and so fun. So it just feels like such a privilege to be able to be his parents, to be able to hug him every night and see everything that he's able to accomplish every day.
Emmett's improvement has continued from when he was 7 months all the way up until now he's 8. SMA is always going to be a part of our story, going to be a part of Emmett's life, but I'm so excited to see where Emmett is going to go from here. Just so proud of that young man.
Emmett says that when he grows up, he wants to be an author. So he has already written some of his own books and his own stories.
Knowing that it's your contributions that make these clinical drug trials possible, we can't thank you enough for the gift of life.
We are so thankful that Emmett was able to have access to this clinical trial, but we know it's very different for others. And with your help, more people will be able to access clinical trials at BC Children's Hospital.
It is truly life-altering in the best possible way.